Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the Ashes to Rubies live stream, life and recovery, and so much more. It is a Monday morning, gray day. We had a beautiful weekend. The sun was coming. The sun was hitting hard. It was like, would you call it a heat wave? Not really heat wave. It was hot.
It was hot.
It was a wave of heat, and now it's cool. But
Like a heat wave?
Yeah.
I guess it was unseasonably hot,
Hot.
though.
Hot.
It's not usually quite that hot, quite so early.
And we did a little getaway to Montreal as a work trip.
Well, not really. We did one work-related thing.
We did a work-related thing. Yeah, so you could count that as a work trip. Yeah, well, sounds better.
I think it's a work trip when it's paid for by your work.
Oh, okay. That's what the definition.
This was not. We did a work-related item while we were
But we did a little getaway. I think some of our lives are very busy, and now that COVID's open. COVID's gone somewhere else.
Restrictions have been lifted.
That's the right word. We were in Montreal and the mask mandate got lifted. I got told to put on my mask more times in Montreal than I did in 2 years of Ontario living. I keep forgetting. But I think what we did was a great way of like taking one day off, but then going out somewhere. I find that very restful. Do you? You like that?
Yeah.
Very restful. How do you rest? What do you do? Do you do vacations? We don't really do like getaway, like 2-week getaway vacations. But I like doing the little day trips or and we had a mishap with your scooter. It's broken. Oh, sad. Your repairman, I think it's out of his capacities.
It's dead.
Just dead. All right. What's our reading this morning?
This morning,
May 16th.
May 16th.
Wow.
So in 12-Step Fellowship, we are encouraged to keep in touch with our fellow members between meetings. When I am depressed or apprehensive, it's great to call my sponsor or another group friend to talk things out. But I want to be very clear on what I am looking for. Do I want comfort and a straightening out of my thinking? Or do I expect advice on a serious personal crisis? I cannot saddle someone else with the responsibility of telling me what to do. No one can make my decisions for me. This is my responsibility. And if it seems too heavy for me, I will call on my higher power for guidance. I will meditate and pray and keep my mind open for the answers. Today's reminder: when I feel I must take a radical and irrevocable step, shouldn't I make sure I am not motivated by resentment, hatred, anger? I will remind myself that once having taken a radical step, there is no turning back. Should I not try again with the help of God and the program to improve my own capacity for dealing with my problems? Whatever faces me at this time, I know that God has given me the power to set my world in order.
God guided and not human guided. I think we have the fellowship and the people around us that are living the spiritual life, helping others, working with others, passing on a message, the transformative message. And it's fair to go to people and just bounce things off of to see how crazy I am and how messed up my thinking is.
Well, yeah, sometimes it's good to speak something out loud that's been rattling around in your head.
And half the time you don't even need anybody to answer it. You're just like, oh yeah, okay, I see where my fear is driving this. When we get into this part of LifeLab even, and we try to give everybody a partner or a sponsor, we call it pace setter, whatever you want to call it, is we really guide those people into not advice giving. We don't want other people playing God, and we don't want people to rely on people for all of their answers. And so when we get to this part of amending the wrongs that we've done to society and to our fellows, we get to go into this amend time. And this is where we really release people of like, okay, you're being directed by God. When you feel that this is an amend that you need to make, then yeah, bring it up to me and I might share my experience. I might not. And I might just say, yeah, that sounds like God's directing you to do that amend. And so you're reaping what you're sowing. And so I don't want to get in the way of that. And so often we love to give advice. I was in a situation. I wasn't in the situation. I was outside of the situation, but there was there was this situation, and there was the head guy involved. I wanted something to happen, but I didn't even call him to just give him an encouragement or anything, because I didn't want to sway his opinion one way or another to make a decision. And after the decision was made, I called him up and just said that to him. I was like, I just wanted him to, I didn't want any of my noise to be in there.
Mm.
And I think we're so eager so many times to give people advice.
Mm. Yeah, and I think that this is a good reminder that, like, it's saying, if I've got like a serious personal crisis going on, calling other people and looking for their guidance and direction, like, they can't make decisions for me.
Mm-hmm.
It is my responsibility. And so we can get ourselves into a lot of difficulty if we start, like, really, taking what other people say and focusing on that instead of meditating and praying
Mm-hmm.
and asking God what we should do. And lots of times, if I'm quiet, and maybe I might talk it through, and if I have a
Yeah.
trusted person who can, like, help me kind of see maybe all the angles that I didn't see, I try to sometimes do that for people, like, oh, okay, so what decision could you make, and how do you see that playing out? What do you
Mm-hmm.
see the consequences of that
Mm-hmm.
being, and what is a different decision you could make, and how could that potentially turn out, and could you potentially see this happening? Like, I like to kind of ask those questions and talk that out with people. But this is saying, if I have to make a serious decision, I need to really make sure that I'm not motivated by resentment, hatred, or anger, because there's some serious decisions that, like, once I do something, I can't turn back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so, but I can try again with the help of God and with the help of the program to improve my own capacity for dealing with my problems.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen that when people really work through the learning how to connect with God and learning how to process things through 12-step fellowship is a great way to learn how to do that.
And if you've been through your own process and through LifeLab or any 12-step fellowship, you get to see what's been separating you from hearing from God. And that is
Mm-hmm.
fear, resentment, self-pity, insecurity. So when somebody's talking to you, you can point that stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm reminded, like, if you have a counselor or a therapist or a psychotherapist or whatever, anything in between, a sponsor, and they're telling you what to do all the time, run from that person. Like, just leave them. Like, that's not what they should be doing. Like, even in counseling, you never tell people what to do. I'm reminded of this story about walking down a trail with your sponsee or your pace setter or whoever, and they want to veer the other way, and you just say, there's a massive gorilla down there and I got the crap kicked out of me. He was 200 pounds and don't go down that path. And he goes down the path and you see him 2 days later and he's got black eyes, and you say, oh yeah, met the gorilla. Oh, wow, yeah, it was a tough one. And then the next trail he wants to go down again, and you say, there's a 600-pound gorilla down that one. Don't go down that one. And you see him 2 days later, and he's even blacker and bluer. And the next trail, you say the same thing, and he goes, no, that'll be different for me. And he actually comes back, and he's like, oh man, down that path, there was a beautiful little baby orangutan. And if you're giving somebody all the answers all the time, you're not always going to be right. And so then you don't have any weight with anybody. You don't have any say in people's lives. If you're always giving them advice, they're coming to you and you're telling them the answer, it might not be the right answer for them. And it's like, we really have to be guided by God and lead people into that relationship. That's our job, is to stick with God and do his will. So watch out for those 200-pound gorillas or baby orangutans, and lead people how we're supposed to. All right. Keep the peace, be of good behavior, and we will see you tomorrow.